to Thrivecast, your voice for social and emotional well-being. We just had the diva Priscilla Vidal on talking about her upcoming show next week for AIDS and HIV awareness, as well as upcoming family, youth, and roundtable events at the Del Mar Fair next Saturday, the 14th of June, and we will be at Gay Pride here in San Diego in July.
What date is that?
Oh, we'll have it posted. We're going to be passing out all sorts of stuff. So I have with me, and first I need to get some house cleaning out of the way. And I meant to open with this, but I had a lot of anxiety because we haven't been on the air in a while. So Thrivecast, we have been working really hard to increase the quality and add a few components. So if you notice to my right, there's a phone number, 619-487-0867. That is our new call-in line that people will be able to call into the show, and they can ask questions. For those of you, the over 2,000 people that watched or tuned in for or listened to the partnership or partner with the BH director, Alfredo Aguirre, we are going to have people call in and ask the director questions. And here shortly, anyone can call in the show and ask a question while we're live, which that'll be fun the first time I handle one of those questions and see how well I do. So we've got that. We've got the broadcast host where we're able now to do the call-in show. We have the chat function really hammered out on the website. And again, over the last few months, I was graduating, so I from graduate school at the San Diego State University, their graduate program in social work. And getting towards graduation was insane. I was neurotic. I had this condition called school-inflicted trauma disorder, as I call it. But I'm over it. I'm healed. And two of the most beautiful people that helped me heal, other than my wife, Julie Van Harligan, were Dice, Yoany, and Kiana. So how did we meet each other?
I met you in front of a 7-Eleven while I was just playing music. I was making a couple bucks.
And it was literally my first day on Thrivecast. I didn't even know what I was doing, really.
That's too crazy. That's like too much of a coincidence.
It was. Well, and I pass out my card. You know, there are so many people out there that have my card. Like, I met a guy at a club who sleeps in his car, and he's a musician, and I'm like, call me. You know, I pass out my card all the time, and they'll see me again. They know my name, and they're like, I mean to call you, but no one. A lot of people they're afraid to, but you guys did, and from that point forward, like, because I understand when you guys said you have to hit the road sometime and play. When I was a kid, when I was 14, it was jumping in a van and going to follow Fish and the Grateful Dead and just getting away from my life. You know, home sucked. You know, at that point, my parents were getting divorced. It wasn't good. Things just sucked. But when I was on the road and I was, around music and free spirits, I felt like that was my family. And I know you guys, we talk about this. When you guys are out and about, you'll show me pictures of when you guys were in San Francisco, at Berkeley, and when you've been other places. There really is a family out there, isn't there?
Definitely there is.
Yeah.
You get a sense of, like, there's always someone, like, watching your back. But, I mean, just with, like, that, easily there's also the polar opposite of, like, you got to watch your back towards some people out there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's definitely a sense of family and sense of, like, a common understanding.
Yeah.
Even as simple as just having food or whatever, people would think people with nothing would be really savage over their possessions that they have because they just don't know when the next meal that they're gonna get. But they're actually, since they understand and they know what it's like, they're even more willing to share, and they're just like, hey, are you hungry? You want the rest of this or whatever? People are just really... Well,
yeah, and you guys played at People's not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And you were able to shop, and that was fantastic. And you guys, you were so nervous, Kiana, weren't you?
Yeah, I was freaking out because I suck at tuning my ukulele by ear. I'm not good at it at all yet. I relied too much on the tuner, and we didn't have that.
Right.
Because I had just lost my phone, and that's the tuner that I was using. Was the one on my iPhone, and so I was just like, oh my god, I can't do it. I don't know what to do. I'm not going to be able to play. Like, I was freaking out.
But you guys did fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And
then you whipped out the wash. No, you didn't do the washboard. You tapped.
Yeah, I tap danced.
And that was one of the coolest parts of your performance, was seeing you tap while Dice was playing.
Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was nice, too, especially because the inside of the deli at People's Market. It's tile, so it's just the perfect pitch, and it wasn't on the concrete like usually.
I know. We need to get a wood floor in here, so that way you can tap in here the next time you guys
or even
play.
Just like I need to invest in a wood platform. I found a wood platform last time when we were walking down the street, but I wasn't in the mood to carry it back.
We're gonna have to do that soon.
Yeah.
So again, since the last time everyone saw you, and that was one of our first like learning how to work the cameras. Remember, it fell off the wall, and I had to hold it for a while, and we have really grown significantly in a long.
That looks good in here.
It does, and we're getting better, right? We have a phone number, right? We have a phone number you can call in 619.
And then we need to use colored pens too, so it makes it pop, and then just.
Yeah, we're gonna have art at some point in this show. I have some street artists that I've been actually meeting with and trying to figure out how to integrate them into what we do here at the Round Table. There is an organization called San Diego Art Alliance, which is working with kids to do murals, street art murals with police officers as kind of a restorative justice thing. And my dream is to throw a Thrivecast Family Youth Roundtable event where we have you guys perform. We have Neonde Speaks, one of our favorite guests that we had early on the show, and we're bringing back, and have other musicians and artists come. And that to me is what social and emotional wellness is finding your passion for what you do that takes away the pain, or you can just get lost in that world. It's funny because when I see Dice play sometimes, this persona comes out, and I love that, and I know when I'm helping, like my thing is I'm really not a good artist. I can write well. My thing is just I know how to help people, or I know how to figure out how to network people, and I'm passionate about it, right? And that's when I come alive. When I'm not doing those things, I'm kind of, but
thinking about how to do those things.
Right. And I'm really proud of you guys because I know that right now you'd probably be hitting the road, right? Getting towards summertime, I'm sure you're getting a little anxious.
Yeah.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
So that's why we got to get you out and performing all over the place, and you guys need to get some new material. But what have you been since the last time we saw you? What have you been? What's been going on?
We both recently got jobs like a month ago, and we've just been trying to do that. We were really motivated to like help out around the house with my mom and brother, and also save up for a vehicle and like really make a foundation for ourselves. And I've been meaning to like save up money for my job to create more arts and crafts and stuff, and just like more clothes and jewelry, but I haven't really found the time to do that as well.
And I'm going to get on you about that too, you know that, right?
It's just been more spending money on food and good groceries. And so we need to also watch our eating habits, because I think we eat a little excessively.
Yeah, but you guys eat healthy.
Yeah, but we still eat excessively, more than we need to. Like, a bowl of cereal, okay, but like 4 bowls of cereal is just not, like, at that point, like, have a bowl of cereal, some strawberries, and something else, not just like a box of cereal in each sitting.
Okay, so but you still eat a hell of a lot healthier than I do or anyone else.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I had carne asada fries yesterday with the meat on the side with my mom when she picked me up. She already bought it, so I was like, I had no choice.
Just a side note about carne asada fries. So I'm from Cleveland. I'm from Ohio. Like I've eaten I've traveled around the world, but I've never had carne asada fries until I moved to San Diego. And my cousin Andrew, who you guys met earlier, that was here, who's driving Priscilla. He's like, yeah, Nathan, you gotta check these out, carne asada fries. And I'm like, doesn't that defeat the purpose? Like,
of what?
It's supposed to be on nachos. Like, because I'm such a Clevelander and a Midwesterner. And I'm like, how do do you put that on fries?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense.
Did you like it, though, after you tried it?
I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's good. I mean,
It's good.
It's just now that I'm trying to eat healthy, like, I don't need the carne asada fries.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
But whoever came up with that and then added the guac, that was genius.
Guacamole, if it never had guacamole, it wouldn't be as good, I don't think. Guacamole makes everything better.
That's a California, San Diego thing, too. Guacamole or avocado on a hot dog, right?
Dogs.
So I want to talk about when you guys came to my college class, because that was one of the best things that happened to me this year, other than being done with school and spending time with my wife and having a life again. But what was that experience like for you guys? I bring you into my graduate school class. It's community organizing. Everyone thought you guys were undergraduate students. They were checking out the program. What was it like when you walked in there and that whole experience?
It was cool because it was no pressure because I wasn't getting graded on anything.
Right.
So it's just like, heck yeah, I get to sit in on a class and learn something and meet people and just sit in, you know. So it was really nice, and it wasn't too like, oh gosh, it's school again, like all that pressure. I don't know why, but school is like, the pressure's on with school, you know. But then but especially the course too, and the professor too, he was really good, and he just like took off a lot of the pressure from like what we had expected the class was going to be like before we had walked in. And even the students too, everyone was really engaged. It was much more of a community than just like a classroom with people just sitting back and people spacing out. And also, like, other people, when in other classes people kind of chime in and they say unnecessary things, and other people aren't really engaged in what they're saying and carrying on the conversation, but there's like a really like conversation being built, and like people were learning from each other, and they were taking advice from other people about their own projects.
And you guys answer the questions better than the graduate students.
I think that's also because like the pressure as well, it wasn't on. Maybe, I don't know.
My favorite though, because Kiana, you would just shout out that you were just like wham wham. You were, and then Yoany, you were like at first I could tell. You know, remember that when
you
he was
guys
kind
are
of
both like that.
he
Though.
would kind of put
You're the one that would like shout out the answer.
I know.
And then and it would be correct, and it would take like two hands to go up, and they would say the answer. You would be saying it in the background. Like, you need to speak up, man. Like they can't hear you back there. And he was doing the same thing you were doing. He's like,
it's a guy thing, maybe, right?
I don't know. I don't know what it was. Maybe.
But I have to give props to Professor Drew Lauderman at San Diego State, part of the Consensus Organizing Center there. They do a beautiful work. I think what they're doing in the community, and having law students from the law center that were also taking classes there was huge. One of the things that I thought was genius was, you know, Mike, the one guy, he was going to law school, but he wanted to become a police officer. And he said, I took this class because I thought it would be easy and whatever. And at the end, I mean, he was just stoked because he helped create a program with the local police in Mid-City where they're going to be doing guerrilla gardening with kids that are at risk or in trouble. Yeah, to help make a community garden.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I know those are the things that you both are passionate about, is community gardening and healthy food and collectives, you know, where people can actually bring together their food and take care of one another in a community. And now we're going to take kids that are at risk, and they get to build a garden with the police. But what's really significant about that is it costs on average about $45,000 to create a community garden. People don't realize how there's a lot of cost that goes into it. But if you do it through urban gardening, it cuts down the cost considerably. And each kid has to kind of build a plot of land through this guerrilla gardening. And so by doing that and unifying collectively, they can create the community garden. So that's what they're going to try to do. I'm going to be trying to reach out to Drew Lauderman, our professor, to come on the show and talk about some of those initiatives. And I hope to get Mike on the show too and see where that project's at. But those are some innovative things that come out of that class. The other thing that came out of that class is helping so the backpacks now will be used to do that. They were originally used to help homeless people. And then the other thing is they were helping women in Costa Rica make jewelry here and sell it here in San Diego to make money for those families. So really cool stuff happening here in San Diego, social justice. And did that inspire you guys to go to school?
A lot of, I was pretty, I was already considering it because, I'm interested in learning. Just the typical way of going about school, I guess, is what not appealed to me, but then being in that class was a reminder of how good or how much I enjoyed learning in school because I haven't been in a classroom in a really long time, so it was just a little refresher. And I was like, school's not that bad, and then I started thinking about homework and stuff, but then I was like, if I just stay ahead of the game, it's really not all that hard, especially if I'm interested in the subject.
Right, and so you just registered for school, and you did too, right, Dice? And Dice, you said something yesterday about learning about things that you had access to. What did you say? You were like, I'm gonna, you know what? I need to take advantage of the things that that you were running from, basically.
Oh yeah, because before I completely aged out of the system, I had access to a lot more different resources and different programs, and I just didn't take advantage of them. I just didn't really think how much it would benefit me down the road.
Right.
Or like, you know, like I could have like definitely benefited from like, you know, even like so much as like dental work that needs to be done that I could have gotten through like either Medi-Cal or just like through other programs that would help if I were to look into it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't know what, if you've been in foster care, if you've been in system care, that there are opportunities for people. And a lot of times it's one, because they don't ask, or two, because they don't want to have anything to do with the system. Because their experience sucked. I mean, we just had Priscilla on and we heard her experience. I mean, there are a lot of bad stories, unfortunately, in system care. It's getting better because of KDA and Pathways and some of the new initiatives. You know, the expansion of McKinsey-Vento, which is an educational law that allows homeless kids and kids that are kind of moving around foster care to, you know, make sure that they get their educational rights and they get to go to school. But again, without knowledge and not knowing, how do you, you know, not knowing that now, and how does that make you feel? Going like, why didn't somebody tell me this earlier? Or why wasn't that information more readily available? Or were you looking?
Well, I mean, it was a combination of like, you know, like the resources are right there. Like if you need them to like, you know, or just like ask, you know, like, and we can like let you know about these resources that are available for like whatever you need. And I mean, yeah, I just like, yeah, I didn't really take advantage.
Yeah, but you are now.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to now, whatever I can.
Yeah, and what I love about the both of you is you bring so much love into a room. I recently had you guys come to a potluck, you know, after we did yoga, and I was talking to my friend Ronnie, and she's like, they're just so, they're just beautiful.
Ronnie was cool too.
Yeah, Ronnie's awesome.
She's all bubbly.
Yeah, her life was pretty rough too, and she's overcome, and she's quite a successful businesswoman, and she doesn't take anything for granted, you know.
You can totally tell.
Yeah, but the same with you guys is, you know, when I was in school at one point and I was doing this show and I'm talking about social and emotional well-being, I was having my marriage wasn't going well, and the two of you guys would come over. You guys came over and played one night, and we hung out, and then you came in studio, and I started to see the love that you guys had for each other, and just how you create harmony together. You create a very peaceful. You just emit it. You know, you create that environment when you guys walk in. And it's why I'm so thankful that I'm back with my wife, and that, you know, focusing on what's important, which is the person that loves you and the person that completes you, and just the person that you can be in a space together and share that time, you know. When you're in school and you have school-inflicted trauma disorder, I'm serious. Anyone who's gone to school, and when you guys go to school, you're going to experience this.
I know what you mean.
Your life is a book. Your life is just school, and you forget the most important things in life. And then you're in debt. But at the end, I can tell you, great things happen because of it. And I'm a living proof that's the case.
Yeah.
And I know the two of you guys are going to go to school and do amazing things. Engineer, you're thinking about engineering school, right?
Yeah, I want to do environmental engineering.
Good. And I can see you up there just making hay, you know, making things fly and making change. And
then making jewelry too, and baking and stuff.
Well, that's another project that we're going to be working on, right? Because Dr. Drew Lauderman, that's one of the things we're talking about through his center, his legal center, is figuring out a way for you guys to make clothing. And Donna Ewing Marto here at the Round Table has been trying to get you to make some clothing too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be persistent to get you to do it. And Yoany, you've been working with leather. I expect a leather bow tie at some point that I can rock on this show, or when I'm teaching at my classes, so that way.
Garbanzo has one too.
We could be. Oh, that's beautiful. My dog Guinness, who passed away, actually had a
we'll make Gilly one too then.
That would be awesome. That's the other thing that I love about you too, is you use renewable clothing, whatever. You learn how to make things like that. Shaw, that thing is fantastic.
Oh, I didn't make this,
I know, but
unfortunately.
you find it too?
Yeah.
And your business idea is My Mother's Closet.
Yeah, and more as I think about it, I want to go with that, especially because I'm trying to watch my spending. And before, when I didn't have a job, my mom didn't want to really let me go into her closet as much because I didn't really have the purpose to have all these things she felt. But I mean, I just like colors and patterns and stuff. But after I got a job, she's like, okay, you can borrow this, you can wear this, you know? And I'm like, dang, girl, like, she has so much cool stuff. And I'm like, man, all right.
Well, and here's
and I get a lot of compliments from
you do,
too, and I'm like, my
guys,
mom, man.
You guys dress amazing. Like, you always have cool stuff. But here's my thing. We should all be learning how to make things, right? There's when we go thrifting, and I go thrifting, like, there's so much clothing out there that we can actually modernize or we can make new.
Yeah.
There's so much waste when you think about it.
Dude, like, when I was going to school in the beginning for fashion design, I was in there and I was just like, we all want this and we're just going to be creating more and more. Like, I need to be doing something sustainable. Like, I can't be here. And that's why I wanted to make things out of recycled material. And I even just, like, had a thought, like, imagine if clothing stores stopped producing things until everything that was already available in thrift stores and used and everything got used. And then I was just like, imagine how long that would last us and how long we wouldn't have to produce. We could go years without having to produce, and we would find like more appreciation for the things that we already have created, and we wouldn't feel the urge to like, I'm like over this, like. And we recycle fashion and ideas all the time anyway, so why even create something 20 years later that's already been done 20 years before, like, when you can just hold on to it? Or
But when you talk to a lot of fashion designers, they'll go thrifting just to look at old designs, old hems, old ways in which they made it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things nowadays that are being produced that haven't really been inspired by things that have been in the past. It's not really made as well, and the quality, the detail, it's just kind of like plopped out, you know? It's not really any like detail, I mean, like any thought put behind it at all.
No, it's just perfunctory. They just chunk it out. They just chunk
manufactured goods.
So have you guys been playing much?
I have here and there, but
yeah, just like on the low, like when we're at home or something and not really doing anything too much, just pick it up.
So I'm gonna have you guys need to come in studio then, and we'll get you playing again.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I also, Kiana, you speak Japanese?
A little bit.
How would you say thrive in Japanese?
See, I told you I said a little bit. It sucks because I'm like, yeah, I could speak Japanese, and then the one word that the person asks me
I was just curious. Is there a word for that? What about wellness or
health? Health. I'm not really sure.
That's your goal for next time.
Okay.
What is it, Michael? Genki.
Oh, Genki. That's like good, and like, it's like, how are you? Like, Genki, yo. Like, I'm good. It's a response. Like, I'm good.
Mike, our master of setting all the sound equipment and everything.
Ask him how to say health. That's not.
He just did.
Oh, that's not health.
She says it's
like
not
good.
health, Michael.
It's like what you say when someone says, like, how are you?
I am healthy. And how do you say it? Genki. He says that's what it is.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have to Rochambeau.
Junkenpoi.
What is that?
Junkenpoi. It's like rock, paper, scissors.
Oh,
but
rock, paper, scissors. I love it.
And then it's even cooler because it's like Junkenpoi, and you say Achimita hoi, which means look that way. And you either look that way or point up, down, right, or left, and you can't look the way that the person's pointing, so you have to look the opposite direction.
Oh,
and if you look the way that I'm pointing, then you get a little slap on your cheek.
Little slap?
Not a real slap. I mean, I could smack you, but we won't do that.
Sometimes people like that.
It's fun playing. Yeah, to each his own.
Okay, and the other thing is, so you guys have been helping us out here at Family Youth Roundtable, getting things set up. We're going to be trying to get you on some advisory groups to do some advocacy. We really have to get this project done, which is to get you sponsorship to perform out in the community so that you can collect donations and not get fear of getting tickets. Because when you're street performing, you can get ticketed, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And what's that? Why would they ticket you for performing in the streets?
Because we take away business from the businesses, but I'm not even just saying us in general, but a lot of street performers are really good, and rather than like spending money inside of the store, people live in the moment, like subconsciously too, you know. They'll hear something that they're attracted to and they'll stop, and rather than going inside and shopping and spending money, they're spending 30 minutes just standing there, even if they're not paying anything, you know. But it just kind of like creates that that stop that people don't really want to see.
It's going against the norm.
Yeah.
Right, but if we made it the norm that they brought you in the store, people would shop and listen to you too. I mean, to me, it's a win-win.
And it doesn't even need to be like inside of the store, really. I mean, like outside is fine. Yeah. I mean, even when we were traveling and we were in Sacramento, we went to Old Sacramento, and before there used to be a lot of street performers there, and that was the main attraction to go down there. But it was running off business a lot too, because a lot of people would just go out there and panhandle and create madness too.
Right.
But also, like, they kind of just blamed it on the musicians that were performing down there too, because they were taking away from the business. People would come there specifically for that and not spend any money there at the overpriced places, or just like people were starting to realize what was really cool, you know, like they could enjoy themselves without having to spend a nickel or anything, or spend a nickel and have it go to a good cause, but they didn't like that.
But here's my thing. Instead of not liking and the friction, figure out, and this is, again, that consensus organizing class. How do you get it a win-win?
Well, I mean, talking and, like, but a lot of it, too, like, people don't want to hear out, but that's what, like, I understand what you're saying about playing inside the store, but it doesn't even need to be, like, that drastic of any measures. It just, I mean, as simple as us asking, before we perform outside, a lot of the times we'll ask the business that we're planning on playing in front of if we could play in front of their store, and a lot of the times they, like, half the time they don't even have a say-so, you know, but they just feel really like they feel respected that you even thought to ask them, like, yeah, exactly. And like that just gets us a lot further, rather than, like, you know, and we don't catch them off guard because we ask them ahead of time, and we're not just popping down our stuff or anything, and like telling them, like, you know, if we're bad or anything, like, if we bother you, just tell us to go, you know.
But the reason I thought inside was because when you guys played at People's, watching the little kids with their family and they're shopping down below and they're dancing, and like, you guys couldn't see sometimes what people were doing throughout the store. It was really cool. Yeah. You know, watching them go through the aisles, and they're kind of, and then when you were tap dancing, they're looking up like, what's she doing? You know what I mean? Like, that's a fun experience. You know, not only for the parents but for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see where, like, our local MTS, like the trolley, right? A lot of kids, a lot of youth, a lot of homeless. I've done it myself, where you just ride the train, right, all day. It's where you can sleep. You don't get interrupted, right? People do it on the buses. What would it look like if you had people, our local talent, our local street performers were at every stop, they were there, and that you were able to get a stipend to do that, or you could get donations, but it says brought to you by MTS. Like, why not create that mix where we can create a collaboration for a lot of stuff? Or you have like a Chase Bank that says, you know what, we're going to help them, and then we're going to help them to learn how to save money, how to invest. So that car you want, here's how we're going to teach you how to do it, right? So instead of giving 33% interest rates and all this other stuff that they do, like, come down and say, let's create a partnership, and let's not harass you. Like, let's figure out a way to make this work. Again, it's the reality of our world sometimes that we're going to have, you know, this disparity, but how do we bring it down so that we're all human beings on the same level, and understand that, you know, some of those guys that made it all the way up, or those women that made it all the way up, they started doing things that they wanted to do, right? And then life happens. But at the end of the day, we're all this, right? Like, I'm still in my heart that kid going on tour, jumping in a car, and, you know, going to the next town. That's still in my head every day. You know, that's where my self-determination is. Sometimes now that I'm, you know, going to be starting at the Family Youth Roundtable, I enjoy coming into work. But I've had jobs where it's like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to be that kid again, back out on the road. Did you guys feel like that when you took these new jobs?
Yeah, especially because I'm working at a bar, and I don't really, not that I'm like completely against alcohol, especially because like the way that it was created in the beginning, and like other homemade ways that you can go about creating it and producing it. It's not bad, and a lot of people can control themselves, but it also has caused a lot of chaos and madness in this world as well. So I also just feel like a sellout for even being there as well. But I mean, also,
You're
like,
not a sellout.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
In every part of
There's
our life.
There's also good people going there as well, you know. That's why, I mean, it's not all bad, but I mean, it's just sometimes you just don't really know what is the proper thing for you to be doing.
Well, my first, I take that back. I washed dishes like at 14 in a restaurant, at a Chinese restaurant, but then I ended up working at this restaurant where I had to I'm wearing a bow tie, ironically, but I would have to like bus, and you know, it was like literally like nothing, a restaurant I could never eat at. But I worked there and I knew I could make good tips, you know. But I can tell you that what you're doing now, you both are determined for greatness, and you're going to do great. You're already doing great things in this world. Like, I'm going to school to be a therapist, and you guys were my therapist for a few months. Like, you helped me maintain my sanity, and I can't tell you how much I love you both for that. Like,
that's cool.
Honestly.
I guess we'll really never understand how much we helped your own sanity, you know?
It was crazy. I mean, because again, it just was, life was happening in this way that I couldn't control it, and it was just nice to see the love that you guys have, how genuine you are. You guys emit social and emotional wellness and health and well-being. Like,
everyone does too.
They do.
There's our friend Purple in Berkeley. He this girl was like, "You're so beautiful" to him or something. She said something and complimented him, and he was just like, "I'm just a reflection of you," you know. And she's just like, "Oh my gosh," and just got really touched by it. But it's so true, and a lot of the times we depict things that we don't like about other people because it's something that we do in ourselves, and we don't even notice that that's why we don't like it. Or
because we get stuck. We get stuck in a tunnel, and then we don't look at what's around us. You know, I had someone that loved me unconditionally, and all I had to do is, instead of looking at that book, was just show, hey, you know, thank you for doing, like, but you get so, because you're learning all this stuff, and then you're doing internships, and then, I mean, I had cases that literally would, you know, we'd see them one day, and they might overdose, or they had horrible traumas that you hear, and so you're constantly, that's your life. You go into a psychiatric unit, and you're hearing things, you're experiencing things, you're hearing the worst parts of the human existence, and then suddenly you're trying to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, and so I wanted you guys on the show for kind of my first kind of coming back, because you both really mean a lot to me, and I'm really invested in your success, because you were unknowingly investing in my success, because I want to create change in this community. I want to create change everywhere, and I kind of hold you guys to, that's the expectation.
Yeah, same here. And you also help to see that we also, like, I mean, if we want to make change, what more of a better place in your own hometown? That, especially if you see that it could use a little assistance in a couple of departments. Yeah.
So, in closing, I just want to say, in the words of Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Deltron 3030, I am finally out of my cage. All right, like, you know that song, Feel Gooding. Is it Feel Gooding?
Oh yeah.
Or Dirty Harry.
Oh.
One of those.
Feel Good.
Feel Good. Yeah. Michael, you need to help me out here. I just know it's Deltron, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, when he plays with the gorillas. But he says, finally, someone let me out of my cage. The day I graduated, I swear my school-inflicted trauma disorder went away, and I realized that the three of us and
actually, that's Clint Eastwood.
It is Clint Eastwood, yeah. Dirty Harry.
Excuse me.
And the team here at Thrivecast, and the team here at FYRT, and we couldn't do it without our guru, Donna Yoany Marto. We are going to create change, you know, like, I feel like I'm finally loose, you know, and it's, you know, we're going to take this city by storm, and we're going to create something beautiful. So, all right, that is us back, new and improved on Thrivecast.
That was good.